October 21, 1833. This building does not exist anymore. So there are some new buildings that have come up there. But this is where he was born, and this is how the house looked like in 1833. And he is born to a very distinguished parents, Emmanuel Nobel and Henrietta Nobel. Emmanuel Nobel, his father, was a very big inventor. He has invented a lot of very interesting things, and at that time itself, they have gone and patented some of those inventions. So, Alfred Nobel was born in a family where inventions are not new. And this is one of the things that Alfred Nobel's father, Emmanuel Nobel, invented, the mines, underwater mines to protect the harbor of St. Petersburg. So this is probably the first time. Now it is very common. If you take a ship in Strait of Hormuz, you will hit a mine. Okay? And nobody thinks about Emmanuel Nobel, who invented the mines that go into the sea. The most important thing that Alfred Nobel done was based on one of the discovery that this gentleman Ascanio Sobrero did in the discovery of nitroglycerin, which was 1847. And what Alfred Nobel did was he mixed the nitroglycerin with a substance called kieselguhr. And what had resulted in what he called it as dynamite. And dynamite is so powerful even at that time. And anything like this always has a good side and a bad side. Of course, dynamite is very important if you're constructing buildings and you have to break the rocks and so many different important roles it plays. But of course, people have used it for wrong reasons too. And this is the picture of the patent of the discovery of dynamite, not nitroglycerin. He did not discover nitroglycerin. He discovered dynamite, which is a mixture of nitroglycerin with kieselguhr. So this is how it worked. Even in 1863, when he got the patent. So at that time, they thought about patent. They thought about patenting and how to take advantage of the patent at that time. Okay, it's more than 150 years ago. Now we are thinking, maybe we should patent this, we should patent that, So this is probably something that thought process had already gone, and which is also very important for Nobel to make all the money. Okay. So the bad side for my Indian context is the Bofors that we all know. Okay, we have read so much of it. Is a company that was founded by Alfred Nobel. Okay, now they've changed the name because of the scandal that it had caused in the Indian setting. So this is a very, very big discovery by Alfred Nobel that had brought him enormous amount of wealth. Now, in 1895, he made this will. This was dated November 27, 1895, and Alfred Nobel died on December 10. And December 10 is the date. It doesn't matter what day it is. It's the date when Nobel Prize is awarded in Stockholm. And the Peace Prize is awarded in Oslo at the same time. So, in memory of Alfred Nobel, that's more important. And whatever he has written in his will constitutes the legal framework for selecting and awarding the Nobel Prize. Whether it's peace or medicine, physics, chemistry, literature, it's all the same. So they follow. And in this rule, one of the things Alfred Nobel had indicated is it should not be given to people who are dead. So it's very important that the people who have made the discovery get the prize and should come and receive the prize. So they should be alive. So that's very important. And that will have a very interesting implication when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi. Now, he has also put one more thing in this clause in his will, which says, in no case may a prize be divided between more than 3 persons. It can be for 1, it can be for 2, it can be for not more than 3. So this is something that is practiced very diligently for all the prizes. Whereas one exception in the Peace Prize is, all the other prizes given to an individual. Peace Prize is one where can also be given to an organization. United Nations, the World Food Organization, even the organization in India called TERI, which is the environmental agency. The organization got it, and the chairman of the organization went and got the prize, and he happened to share that prize with the former vice president of United States. So their organization can be considered because it's difficult for individual person to promote peace. Sometimes the size of an organization is required. So not more than 3 people if it is individual. Now when you look at the way the cycle for Nobel Prize works is, sometime in September to December, the Nobel Prize committee will send out a nomination request to candidates. And many of these people who receive it are heads of institutions, whether it could be an academic institution like an university or a scientific organization or a peace organization. And university vice chancellors can nominate, but they need to receive the nomination, get a login and a password. Now it has become online submission, but it is very secure. So the deadline for nomination, which you should remember very important, is 31st of January every year, midnight, 12 o'clock Swedish time. That's the deadline. Anything submitted after 12 o'clock, the server will shut down. You cannot go and submit anything. So that is the deadline. And the deadline, nomination has to be submitted within the deadline. Okay? Only then you are considered. If you are not nominated, if you are one of the greatest person who deserves the prize, but if you are not nominated, you will not be considered for the prize for that year. So nomination is very important. It's like you buying a lottery to win a lottery ticket. If you don't buy a lottery, you cannot aspire to win the lottery. Oh, I have done this, I must get the lottery prize. No, you must have the ticket. So that is the synonym for being nominated. So when the nominations actually complete, in the month of February, almost all the nominations are screened and most of the nominations are defective. They don't fulfill all the criteria. If you take the medicine prize, it is to be for a discovery or an invention. If it's not for a discovery or an invention, it is rejected, number 1. Number 2, the person nominated should have made the discovery and be the first person in the world to have done that. If you have taken somebody else's discovery and made it into better product, that's no good. And that should be publishable, verifiable discovery. The third is, most important, is the discovery should have benefited the mankind. And it takes a long time for the discovery to become visible in terms of benefit to the mankind. Okay, so when you do look at this, these are very important criteria. If it doesn't fulfill the criteria, you have no chance of making it. Okay, but more than the prize and more than the money that comes with the prize, now it's about 11 million Swedish kroners, depending on the exchange rate. The current Indian rupee exchange rate will come to about 11 crore rupees. It's not the money, but the value of the prize tagged to your name as a laureate has got 100 times more value. Okay? So that is the value the prize brings. It's probably the only prize in the world that's given for proven excellence. So many people don't make it. Many people die because there are too many discoveries now, and you have to make the best choice amongst the discoveries that are nominated for that year. So sometime in the month of March, you will see that the shortlist is prepared after all the nominations that do not fulfill are rejected. Then it goes through a review process. Sometimes 2 people review. If the nomination is made by a Nobel laureate who has already won the prize in the previous years, it might go to only 1 reviewer, because the Nobel laureate himself, his recommendation would be taken as a review. So when all these things take time, and you have to give them a report, a critique or a summary of why this should be given the prize. Okay, then several other reviewers will also be doing the same thing. And at some time point in June, July, it's all shortlisted. Now we are talking about only the top 10. Amongst this, who should get it? So it's like a race. Sometimes you make it all the way to the end, but don't get the prize because somebody else's nomination considered superior than this. Or somebody, if it is young, maybe he'll get it next year. You don't have to worry. Somebody is old, if he is dead, he cannot get the prize. So when we can give it to him when he is alive. The oldest person to receive the Nobel Prize was 97-year-old person from Arizona in the United States. So as long as you live, you have a chance. Then the announcement for the winner is made on the first week of October. On the first Monday of October, the medicine prize is announced. Tuesday is physics, Wednesday is chemistry, Thursday is literature, Friday is peace in Oslo, and the following Monday is economics in Stockholm. This is how the announcement happens. It's always made in the morning. And whenever it is made in the morning, if the winner happens to be in the United States, it's the middle of the night in the United States. So we'll have to constantly wake them up. Get up from the bed. Many people don't get up. Sometimes we have encountered a situation where the wife picks up the phone in the middle of the night. If it's New York, it's 9:30 in the morning. In Stockholm, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning in New York. If it's west coast of United States, it's 12:30 in the night. Many times the wife picks up the phone and said, "What rubbish are you talking? Put the phone down. Why are you waking us up in the middle of the night?" And one time, the wife picked up the phone 3 times and refused to receive the call. Then somebody from here said, "Give the phone to your husband." Oh, okay. So then the husband, "Oh, very nice. I'm happy to get the announcement." So it's pretty difficult. But if you're in a daytime, it's no big deal. You'll always speak, can be reached. So first week of October, first Monday, and the week's following Friday is the Peace Prize is announced. And all the laureates will take time. They'll have to come to Stockholm and give a lecture, Nobel lecture, which happens, the medicine lecture happens on 7th of December. The physics, chemistry, and literature lecture will happen on 8th of December. And the Nobel Prize ceremony happens on 10th of December. For 5 prizes in Stockholm, the prize is given by the King of Sweden, and 1 prize in Oslo, which is given by the King of Norway. So the ceremony is different. And we living in Stockholm, we think the Stockholm prize is better. The Stockholm ceremony is better. So that's the end of the cycle, and the whole thing starts again. When you look at the Nobel Foundation, which sits on all the money and administers all the prize, have delegated the selection process to different institutions. The Royal Science Academy, which is located in Stockholm, selects the physics, chemistry, and economics prize. The Nobel Assembly at the Karolinska Institute selects and awards the physiology or medicine prize. Why physiology? Because we still have not understood how our human body works. The normal functioning of the human body, we are way behind in knowing how it works with all the technology, we don't know. But we are discovering slowly how all these things work. Of course, the literature prize is selected by the Swedish Academy in Stockholm. Interesting, the picture of the building that you have is the building that the Swedish Academy functions in the first floor, and the bottom floor is where we have the Nobel Museum. I'll come to the Nobel Museum a little bit later. Of course, this is the Nobel Peace Institute in Norway, where the Peace Prize is selected, as I told you, by the committee, which is constituted by members of the Norwegian Parliament. Okay, so sometimes you realize maybe you don't need politicians to decide who should win the prize. It can lead to complications. So one of the key things that Alfred Nobel wanted is for the greatest benefit to the mankind. So that is the discovery that should get his prize. You can imagine in 1901, if you give $1 million to the winner, that $1 million is equivalent to 100 million in current valuation maybe. That's a lot of money. So it is probably the money that made scientists get anxious. For kind of information, Albert Einstein, who won the Nobel Prize, did not get the Nobel Prize for discovering theory of relativity, But he was nominated 10th time. On the 10th time only he won the prize. Okay, there were other discoveries that were equally important. Now, if you remember how the communication works, now it's very easy. Moment you announce the prize, in few seconds the news is splashed all over the world. This is a telegram that people used to use. This was in 1915, where this gentleman, Robert Barani, received the information that he has won the Nobel Prize from a telegram which he saw 2 days later. Okay? And now, of course, things have changed. So we get to know very quickly. Now, the prize award ceremony happens at Concert Hall in Stockholm. And this is the prize award ceremony in 1901, which is the first time they are having the award ceremony, which is followed by a banquet. Now, of course, you can see all these gentlemen clad in a very funny costume, which is called penguin tail tuxedo. So the front part is small and the back part will go all the way up to the knee. And you don't wear a normal tie, you wear a bow tie. And the bow tie has to be white, not black. So there are certain royal regulations that follow, and we have to follow. Now there is a rule that if you are invited for the Nobel Prize ceremony, you are allowed to wear your national dress. Okay, that's okay. And some of the people who had won the prize from India, for instance, Sir C.V. Raman, he had a coat on top of a panchakacham vesti. You know what panchakacham vesti is? So that's okay, because that's a national dress. That's exactly what Abhijit Banerjee, who won the economics prize, wore just some years ago when he received, and his wife, who is a French lady, who also received an economics prize, a French lady, coming to the prize ceremony in Indian sari. So that's a respect. So this is how it ends with the award ceremony and the award function. And if you look at the people who won the prize from India, these are some of the prizes. And the first one was the literature prize given to Tagore. And now, when the Indian Prime Minister visited Sweden, the Swedish government had suggested and signed an agreement for Tagore Sweden lecture series in order to improve the cultural and literature exchange between India and Sweden. So this is something very nice. So we can have many of the cultural and literary icons from India be visible and seen. So more exposure, more nominations, more chances of getting the prize. That's the purpose. Of course, you can see Sir C.V. Raman, how he was dressed. He is Indian. Whereas if you look at Haragobind Khurana, he was an American citizen, but of Indian origin. Okay, the other person who is Indian here is Kailash Satyarthi, who is the only peace laureate from India. Okay, so all these people have produced something excellent in their sphere of science. So this is, but what is missing? We haven't got Mahatma Gandhi's picture here. Okay, so the story of how Mahatma Gandhi, he was there, but he was not there. That's how we can summarize. Okay, so Mahatma Gandhi, the missing laureate. What happened? How did the whole thing get missed? Okay, this is the story. Now it's all available out of the confidentiality rules. Okay, so Mahatma Gandhi was born in 1869, and of course he died in 1948, not a natural death. Has become the strongest symbol of non-violence in the 20th century. It is widely held in retrospect that the Indian national leader should have been the very man to be selected for the Nobel Peace Prize. He was, of course, nominated several times, but never made it. Why? He was nominated 12 times. Okay, most of the people who had nominated him were not from India. They were all from abroad. Okay? But why didn't he make it? Many people criticize. I feel it's an opportunity that the Nobel Committee missed. But if you look at icons like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Dalai Lama, There is something common between them and Mahatma Gandhi. They fought for independence. More than independence, all of them fought for freedom. What distinguishes them from the rest of the people? After Nelson Mandela became the head of South African government, he could have gone and taken revenge. All those people who put him in prison for 20 years. He did. He forgave all of them. And this has happened with Martin Luther King. This has happened with Dalai Lama. And there are a lot more examples. This distinguishes them from the rest. And Mahatma Gandhi is one of them. Now, if you go and see what's happening, Gandhi was nominated in 37, 1938, 39. After that, there was a long gap. Nobody nominated him until 1947 and 1948 also. Because the deadline, as I told you, is 31st of January. And he was assassinated on 31st of January, if I am right. Okay? But he has already been nominated for 1948. So the omission has been publicly regretted by the members of the Nobel Committee for Peace. When Dalai Lama was awarded the Peace Prize in 1989, the chairman of the committee said that this was, in part, a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi. The committee never commented on the speculations as to why Gandhi was not awarded the prize until recently the sources which might shed some light on the matter became available, which was unavailable until then. So I was able to get all this information because the confidentiality part was removed. Now, among those who strongly admired Gandhi, like we have overseas associations of Indians, there was an overseas association called Friends of India at the time. This was there in the United States, this was there in Europe. And actually, the Friends of India were very important in having Gandhi nominated. The Friends of India represented different lines of thought. The religious among them admired Gandhi for his piety. Others, anti-militarists and political radicals, were sympathetic to his philosophy of non-violence and supported him as an opponent to imperialism. The interesting part, in 1937, a member of Norwegian parliament, Ole Kol Bjornsson, nominated Gandhi for the TS Peace Prize, and he was duly selected to be one of the 13 shortlisted candidates for 1937. And one of the reviewer from England said Gandhi was a terrorist. Why do you want to give it to him? Why did he make that comment? If you go back, and many of you would have seen the movie Gandhi, you will see that in 1937, Gandhi was taken to a police station and he was put in a cell. What happened? The people who were following Gandhi burnt the police station. Many of the policemen there were people of Indian origin. They all died. If you see, how is this news seen? These guys who are following Gandhi can indulge in murder? Is it okay? This is the reflection of the reviewer. Okay? And the reviewer is not right because that was the hot news on the front page of the newspapers. Of course, the news traveled in telegraphic way in those times. But if you look back, Gandhi decided after that incident that non-violence should be the way to fight for freedom. That's when it was born. So this is how the story began. And in 1937 he didn't get it, and subsequent 2 years he didn't get it. So he was nominated for the Peace Prize and was duly selected as one of the 13 candidates. Corb Bjornsson, who was the chairman of the committee, did not himself write the motivation. It was the Friends of India who wrote the motivation as to why Gandhi should get the prize. The motivation letter is very important. So he's a freedom fighter and a dictator, an idealist and a nationalist. This is how it was described. He is frequently a Christ, but then suddenly an ordinary politician wrote this guy called Jacob Worm Müller, who was the committee's reviewer. See, he is using the word dictator. Okay, so we need to get past all these mental thought process of many people who are thinking of Gandhi in that fashion. So Jacob Worm Müller further stated in his critique that Gandhi had many critics in the international peace movement. Nobel Committee advisor referred to these critics in maintaining that he was not consistently pacifist, that he should have known that some of his non-violent campaign toward the British would degenerate into violence and terror. So this is something that had happened during the first non-cooperation campaign in 1920-21 when a crowd of Chauri Chaura in the United Province attacked a police station, killed many of the policemen, and set fire to the police station. So this is the incident that this reviewer is reflecting on to call Gandhi a terrorist. In his report, Professor Worm Müller expressed his own doubts as to whether Gandhi's ideals were meant to be universal or primarily Indian. One might say that it is significant that this well-known struggle in South Africa was on behalf of Indians only. That's where Gandhi started this fight for freedom, and not of the blacks who were living in conditions were even worse. So this critique saying Gandhi in South Africa didn't fight for the freedom for everybody, but only for the freedoms of Indians in South Africa. See, he is trying to split the hair, as you can call it. So this is probably not the best critique, okay, to win the prize. But it took 10 years. 10 years later, in 1947, the nomination for Gandhi came in a telegram from India by a Norwegian Foreign Office. Who were the nominators? The nominators were B.G. Kher, who was the Prime Minister of Mumbai, Govind Ballabh Pant, Premier of United Province, and Mavlankar, the President of Indian Legislative Assembly. Many of these terminologies and institutions cannot actually be relevant today. So their arguments in support of his candidacy were written in a telegram style, like the one from Govind Ballabh Pant. It said, recommended for this year's Nobel Prize, Mahatma Gandhi, architect of the Indian nation and the greatest living exponent of the moral order and the most effective champion of world peace today. This is 7. There were 6 names at the Nobel Committee's shortlist, and Mahatma Gandhi was one of them in 1947. So during the deliberations, they came to finally 2 names. One of them was Mahatma Gandhi. The other was the head of YMCA, John Mott. Okay, so the committee wrote a new report, which is primarily an account of Gandhi's role in Indian political history. The following 10 years from 37 to 47 led to an event which for Gandhi and his movement was the same time the greatest victory and worst defeat. India's independence is the greatest victory. India's partition. They highlighted the number of people who died. Of those people moving from Pakistan to India, India to Pakistan. Million people died. Is this peace? People can ask. So the historian Jens Orb Sieb wrote in a new report which is primarily says that the victory and the worst defeat of Gandhi's movement. So in 1947, the prize went to the head of YMCA. Gandhi was there, almost a breath away or a hairline away. But the committee decided, many people get renominated like Mahatma Gandhi. The committee decided there is no better candidate for next year. So we should give Gandhi in 1948. Okay? So you can imagine how the reviewers report matter, because at some time point, if you have two candidates, the committee has to vote, and the guy who gets the most vote is the one who is awarded. Now, what happens? I've given you the brief history of how the selection process works. So Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated on January 30, 2 days before the closing date of that year's Nobel Peace Prize. So the committee had received 6 letters of nomination naming Mahatma Gandhi for 1948. One of them, you might have heard, the cereal called Quakers. The owner of Quakers, Emily Green Balch. Quakers and Emily Green Balch, former laureates. For the third time, Gandhi came to the committee shortlist. This time, the list was only included 3 names. The committee advisor, Seep, wrote a report on Gandhi's activities during the last 5 months of his life. He concluded Gandhi, through his course of life, had put his profound mark on an ethical and political attitude which would prevail as a norm for a large number of people, both inside and outside India. So now they are taking that Gandhi's movement is relevant outside India also, not just for Indians in India. So in this respect, Gandhi can only be compared to the founders of religions. People use all kinds of language and terminologies. But Gandhi died. And according to the Nobel will, you cannot consider the prize for a dead person. If Gandhi were alive, 100% he will get it. But the nomination has already been received in January. What can you do? Either you disregard all the nominations, or the committee thought they can go and fight with the Nobel Foundation and ask them, please, this year, allow us to give the prize to Gandhi. Because the committee has to set a precedent. They cannot give it just like that, because all other people out beyond subsequent years might want award given to them posthumously. Right? People seated on the podium, who are the members of the committee and the laureate, and usually the chairman of the committee makes the announcement. As I told you in one of the pictures, we have a Nobel Museum. So in the Nobel Museum, you can see the chairs that are there. Under the chair, all the laureates will sign. Many people there who have gone for a cup of coffee will be lifting the chair to see whose Nobel signatures they are sitting on. Okay, so this is a little bit of a fun activity, but still it is very interesting activity. And you have all kinds of artifacts. When Rabindranath Tagore wrote Gitanjali, for which he won the prize, the first time he wrote it was in a slate. You know what slate is? It's all become an old-fashioned thing, and a chalk. And Shantiniketan has donated that slate when he was in Shantiniketan to prove that poverty and hunger was not because of lack of food, but was abundant of food, but lack of policy. So when the great Bengal famine took place, so much food available. It was Winston Churchill who said, no, let them all die. So food was available. So lack of food is not the reason for poverty or starvation. It is the lack of policy. So that was his economics thesis that got him the prize. So like this, there are so many things in the museum that will be absolutely fascinating. If you're in science and if you're in discovery, if you go and look through, you will have to sit and understand what is gone. They have the first Petri dish of the discovery of penicillin, where they have put the antibiotic and the fungus is not growing. And that was serendipitous observation. He left the Petri dish by the window and went home, Alexander Fleming. Next day, you can see the fungus not growing around where the spots of penicillin was kept. There are a lot of serendipitous discoveries. Okay, in the previous lecture, I had described how many laureates had won the prize for their serendipitous discoveries. So you have the best discovery in front of you, but you need to have the mind to know it. So this is something that is hiding in plain sight. Okay, so this is something that is very interesting. People who visit Stockholm should go there. And all the items on display in the museum is published in this book called Cultures of Creativity. You can search in many of the online platforms for it. On one page, there is a picture of the item that contributed to this. Other page is written text about that item and about the person who has made the discovery. So, this is a very interesting long story, and Gandhi is just an example of somebody had missed. There are a few other people who had missed. For instance, if you know, our first president of India, Radhakrishnan, he was nominated 12 times. 5 times for the Literature Prize and 7 times for the Peace Prize. He missed it. We haven't dug into the story of why Radhakrishnan did not get the prize. So we might find the similar kind of critique, similar kind of things. But to me, Radhakrishnan is a great man. But you cannot match that with Dr. Mahatma Gandhi. See, people of that stature, they are way above in their thinking, way above in their activities. If only Nelson Mandela were to go and seek revenge against his opponents, like Donald Trump is doing, he wouldn't have won the prize. See, he forgave all the people who tormented him. Is it easy? If you go to Robben Island and see his cell with only window that's at the top of the room, he can only see sunlight coming. 20 years. How much he must have suffered. And what kind of mindset you have to forgive those who put you through that process. That is a different category of people. You see, they elicit enormous respect from people. And all those people who have discovered and have contributed are all in this book. It's an excellent reading. If you have the time, you can buy it and read it. And I thank you so much for your attention. I hope it is inspiring. I hope I have narrated the events properly. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. This was emotion-packed lecture. And I saw, sir, you had tears in your eyes. And when you were recounting, we were all there witnessing why Mahatma Gandhi missed it. This is one of the best lectures I have ever heard in my 65 years of age. Thank you so much. It was so great. I think he deserves standing ovation from all of us. Thank you very much, sir. What a wonderful lecture. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
If there are any questions, I can take it, but I'm not.
If there are any questions from the audience, sir would like to take a few. No questions. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful lecture. Sir, there's one question.
So if you become audible, I'll be able to answer. If I know the answer.
Very good morning, sir. My name is Dr. Ashok Sundaramurthy, Professor of Savita Dental College. I'm so honored to listen to your talk today. It is very informative, very useful. And I have just two questions. How many of Indians are nominated from India every year in science? I'm just wondering, maybe if you know the numbers, you can tell us. Question number two, what is your opinion about when Indian get Nobel Prize for their work done in India, maybe in the future? But I don't care if somebody receive American Indian or British Indian from their work from outside of India.
I can tell you that Indians are nominated, whether it's Indian or foreign Indian origin Indians abroad. But such information is not available in public domain. You'll have to wait for 50 years. Okay, that is one thing. That's how we were able to get information about Gandhi, because the whole thing happened 50 years ago. Okay. What is your second question, one more time?
In your opinion, when our next Indian will get Nobel Prize in the future? I mean, how many years it may take?
Everybody can get it, but the first step is nomination. Who can nominate? Your Vice Chancellor can nominate if he gets the nomination. But he should know what is your discovery or invention. Okay, if you keep it to yourself, it doesn't work. And if he's a very good man and he wants you to definitely benefit from that discovery, he will put forward. When he puts forward, of course, there are so many other discoveries you'll have to compete with. So it's impossible to get the prize on the first try. Only once in the history of Nobel Prize, the discovery of insulin was awarded the prize within 1 year of the discovery. Now the waiting time is somewhere about 20 to 25 years from the discovery. Sometimes people make a theoretical discovery, theoretical aspects. Paul Higgs, he made a discovery about God particle, which is called boson, in 1959. Okay, but that was theoretical. Only when the CERN reactor in France found that God particle exists, he was given the Nobel Prize. Because it is theoretical. Now you can, of course, God particle is something phenomenal. So there are several steps. Yes, anybody can nominate it, but in the science category, as I told you, it should be for invention or discovery. You should be the first person in the world to have done it, and you should have benefited the people. If you qualify for all these three, yes. And I can say Indians are nominated, yes. But they need to reach that level of competition where their discovery really makes material sense for benefit to the mankind. Okay, sometimes we can say, oh, this is a weak nomination, this is a very strong candidate, things like that. There are a lot of people who are there but not got it. And some of these discoveries are astounding. Okay, but they are still waiting. Hope they don't die before they get the prize. So the answer is yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, attention, and thank you. Bye.
So you can Respected Founder Chancellor Sir, Honorable Chief Guest, Vice Chancellor Sir, Registrar Ma'am, Dean Sir, faculty members and students. It is an absolute privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this event. First, I extend our deepest gratitude to our Chief Guest, Professor Sanjeevi Sir, for gracing our event despite his busy schedule. Your enlightening words and valuable insights have left a profound impact on us on today, sir. We owe our sincere thanks to our visionary founder chancellor, Dr. N.M. Veerayan sir, and our director, Dr. Deepak sir, for our endless support and encouragement. I also expressed a heartfelt gratitude to our respected Vice Chancellor sir, Dr. Ashwini Kumar sir, Registrar Dr. Sheeja Varghese ma'am, and our Dean, Dr. Arvind Kumar sir, for their constant guidance in executing this program smoothly. Last, I thank our enthusiastic participants, our dear faculty members, and the student community. Your vibrant and active participation made this day truly outstanding. Thank you all once again. I kindly request everyone to raise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे